Hey drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. Welcome to this free mini song lesson where today I'm going to show you the best parts, the main parts to the song My Generation by The Who, drummed of course by the legendary Keith Moon. And this was requested over on my YouTube channel. If you go over to my channel and click on the community tab, you see that I've posted a request. You see the image at the top of the thread. And then beneath that, my YouTube followers were able to suggest songs for me to do in future lessons and then upvote them by liking them. And the most popular ones get chosen for future lessons. And so this was by far the most popular on the list so far. I do plan to do some more of those songs in the future. But that was requested over on my YouTube channel. So if you want to make your own song suggestions, then go over there now and type in your suggestion and help improve the chances of other songs being chosen by liking the other ones that you like. And you can download the free PDF that came with this lesson. I've got 2 pages for you, all the main parts. You can find a link to this PDF beneath my videos. Have this printed out in front of you as we go through all these parts together. So, 190 BPM, really fast. That's the tempo of the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what makes this song rather special and rather difficult to play is the fact that at that tempo, Keith is swinging the 8th notes. Instead of playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which has actually been quite difficult to do, he's made it even harder, and of course it's the era, the 60s era, where he's actually swinging the 8th notes. We're not getting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, we're getting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'll just show you what I mean. We're playing the shuffle pattern, and I'm going to be using the ride cymbal, although Keith has massive crash cymbals and tends to play up on the crash cymbal. With this kit, it's a bit washy, so I'm going to use the ride cymbal to replicate that lovely high-pitched ting you hear on the recording. He's playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 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 1. Which is really hard at this tempo. I tend to use thumb on top technique, German grip I believe it's called, where I'm using the fingers to help me get through this. But you could also play it palm down. But if you haven't got that motion, that molar technique, then you're not going to be able to play with just your wrist. You only last about 5 seconds. So you have to be able to play that technique, this molar whip technique. If you haven't got it, then you could do what a lot of other drummers do on YouTube when they're doing this cover and just play quarter notes instead. So at this tempo, you're simply playing that. It won't sound the same, but it will get you through the song at least. So if you can't play, then you could play, and at least that'll get you through, like I say. So the first part, I've got the first part of the song, the first bar simply, he's playing bass drum on 1 and 3, snare drum on backbeat on beats 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. The tempo. So that's the main drum beat really, but then what he does on top of it, he throws in some extra snare drum notes. So if we take a look at the second bar, we get our first example of this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. He plays naturally this molar whip technique again, and 4 and 4. So we get an extra snare drum note on the and of beat 3, and it's written in brackets as a ghost note because using this technique, you will naturally get a quieter note than the downstroke. The upstroke is quieter than the downstroke. And that motion helps you to play this up to speed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. Now you could perhaps play, come down with the right hand, so you're playing it left, right, but that's not what Keith's playing and it won't sound the same. But you could play that if you really wanted to do that instead. So on to the third bar, basic groove, and then the second line, we get another example that Keith uses throughout this song with his left hand. We get 1 and 2, like we just did, 1 and 2, but he plays an extra snare drum note straight afterwards on the and. 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2 and. And that and doesn't get played with the right hand, with the right cymbal, because that then allows him, even though he's staying on the right cymbal, His right hand is allowed to go around to different parts of the kit. At this tempo, you need that little 1/8 note break to get your right hand going. But in this example, we'll see later on there's some other examples. He plays 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, into our first set of triplets drum fill. And the swung eighth note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, all that represents is the first and the third notes of the triplets. One triplet, 2 trip. Let me do it properly for you. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3. So when we go into the triplets, nothing's changing. We're just then playing all the triplet notes within the beat. So very simple to start off with, but fast. 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. And a lovely little idea there where he just ends it on the bass drum. Other drum fills, he goes to the ride cymbal or the crash to end it. He sometimes plays later in the song, but for this first example, he doesn't. He plays 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. Then we get this 2-bar, this two bar break. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. The second bar, he comes back in each time on beat 4 with the snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is a couple of times where he doesn't play a flam. I just played a flam there. 4. He does it at the beginning as I've written, but later on in the song, just so you're aware, he doesn't always play a flam. He sometimes just plays a single note with the left hand. So he doesn't always play the flam. So just be aware that he does change that up a little bit. And also when he plays it live, he plays, or something like that. He plays this rhythm with the bass drum, which is really cool. But on the recording, he doesn't do any of that. So slowly, those 6 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're into our next section. So now let's play this up to speed for you without the microphone on so you can hear just the drums. Here we go. So this next bit occurs at 22 seconds, the first time he plays this drum fill. And every time you hear this drum fill, it's exactly the same, it's just orchestrated differently. I'll show you what I mean. So the first bar is just the groove going into it, and we get another example of the 4 and, the and being played with the left hand on its own, not with the ride cymbal, which then gives his right hand time to move to different places. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ands. By the way, if you wanted to play any of these parts with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do play it with the ride cymbal, that's absolutely fine, but the reason he doesn't is probably a rest thing. It's just nice to give your right hand just a little bit of a break occasionally, so you're not having to play such every single note. So that's probably the reason he does it. Also because no one's going to hear that extra ride cymbal. It doesn't matter. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go into this really cool drum fill. So the only time we get 16th notes in the song, at this tempo, 16th notes, 4 notes to a beat are really fast. That's how fast they are. 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. So what he does within that, to help him get that tempo, again, he's using this molar whip technique, which I won't go over in this video, but he's throwing in accents on the 1, the of 1, then straight into 2, and then the of 2. I'll just show you what I mean. He's playing this. That motion naturally means that the notes on the E and the and of 1 and 2 are just slightly quieter, and we get these accents popping out on the of 1 and 2, and then the of 2 as well. Notice he starts on the ride cymbal, back to the ride cymbal. Oops. And at this tempo, you are going to crash into the ride cymbal rather loudly. It's just, that's what's going to happen. So that's the first part of the bar. Then the second part of the bar, really cool this, he goes back into 8th note triplets. So we're playing 2 subdivisions, 16th notes and 8th note triplets, right next to each other at this tempo. It takes a little bit of practice to get to get the subdivisions to sound correct. But the triplet part, for this example, is 3 triplets. And then he comes up to this tom, 4 triplets. And then his left hand naturally goes up to his highest tom. So he's going up the toms. 3 triplet, 4 triplets. If you haven't got, on your setup, you'll probably have the medium tom there. So you play 3 triplet, 4 triplet, and there would be your high tom, but I'm just doing it this way. This is where I'm set up. So, like I said earlier on, this drum fill is exactly the same. The 16th notes are exactly the same every time. It's just what he plays in the triplet part that changes. And I think he does play this orchestration again. But sometimes he might play, for example. So don't get hung up on that stuff. Just be aware that it's exactly the same subdivisions each time. It's just where does he play the triplet bit at the end. So slowly, let's do that one bar on its own, the drum fill bar. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 triplet, 4 triplets. At a slower tempo, you can really hear the differences between the 16th notes and triplets. So that's the kind of feel we're going for. I can't sing it with my tongue, but that's the feel we're going for. So really fast, really fast. So those 2 bars slowly, and then I'll play up to speed without the mic on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 E and 2 E and 3, 4 triplet. Really good fun, that. So let's hear it played a couple of times up to speed. So this next section I've chosen occurs at 25 seconds. I believe it's right after that last drum fill we did. He then goes into this section, and I chose it because we've got lots of different ideas that he uses throughout the song. So the first bar has something we've already done. Then the second bar, the first part, I believe, and I'm sure he does this elsewhere in the song. It's really hard to hear every single stroke that Keith's playing on the ride cymbal crash. I'm sure he does this more often than I've shown, but he then sometimes does actually play the quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, just to give his right hand a bit of a break, because that's washing so loudly. No one's going to hear those extra notes anyway. So this example, he plays 1 and 2, and I couldn't hear the and of 1 and 2, so I'm pretty sure he's just playing quarter notes there. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and again that motion is going to make the snare drum on the and of 1 quieter. Don't worry if you can't do that motion, you could just play them all the same volume, if you can do that. But then we get this other example which Keith uses a few times in the song, and this is the first time I heard it being used. He's playing right, left, left, right, left, left. So we're in triplets, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And again, using that molar whip, we naturally get this quiet snare drum note in the middle and then a louder note at the end. So the left hand's playing. You could play, but you can see how awkward that is. That's not what Keith plays. He's able to play these fast doubles in this particular example. Don't worry too much about the dynamics again. You could just play. If you really can't do the whip, that would be just as good, but be aware that's how Keith is playing it. So that second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Down to the next line, standard bar of groove. The last line though we get 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, as we've done before, but just tapping on the first half of the bar. And then this triplet drum fill, which gets used later on in the song. 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So his left hand comes up to the tom in front of him, or this one over here, doesn't matter, but his right hand goes down to his lowest tom, I'm guessing, because he does have a lot of toms. Again, which toms you choose doesn't matter, but if we're going up, down, up in the melody of the toms, then make sure you replicate that on whatever toms you have. But he plays 4 triplet 1, it's the ride cymbal. It's why the right hand's good to be over here, because we're going back to the rides straight afterwards. 4 triplet 1. So 3 triplet, 4 triplet 1. Again, a lot of fun to play that. So 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet 1. Let's do all those bars together, then up to speed. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet 1. By the way, I don't think I mentioned it, but for the second bar there, he plays the bass drum on both 3 and on beat 4. So just be aware of that. So let's now hear those bars up to speed. Okay, this next example on page 2 of the notation occurs at 1 minute 15, and I included this because of bar 2 and bar 4 really. So bars 1 and 3 are exactly the same. We just get the and 4 for bar 1. Then bar 2, he plays 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and Old Faithful again. But then this bit on beat 3, he plays 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. So we get this like little bit where he's playing the snare drum on the and a 3 and the and a 4, 3 and 4 and 1. But hear how swung it is. It's not, it's because everything's swung. So that second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Third bar, as I said, is the same as the first. Then the fourth bar, 1 and 2 and then exactly the same as we just did before. But the first time, 3 triplets. Sorry, the second time on beat 4, he moves to a tom. Now I think it's the lowest tom, but it could be up here. Don't worry what tom you use. I think it's the lowest tom, but you could use any tom you like. So that last bar, 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. So those 4 bars, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. So then at 1 minute 32, there's this really cool drum fill that Keith comes back in with the rest of the band with. So I wanted to include this. Again, the orchestration, which toms you use doesn't matter, but I'll show you what I mean. The first part, I think he's playing it up here. It could be here, could be here, it doesn't matter. 1 triplet, 2. So we get this natural progression in volume, ending with beat 2, the left hand, playing the snare drum solidly. And then from beat 3, he skips over the whole of beat 2, comes back in on beat 3 with the bass drum. It's very subtle. He plays same tom he used at the beginning, 3 triplets, and then Old Faithful, which we'll see again, 4 triplets. So the left hand comes up to the tom in front of you, right hand to your lowest tom. 3 triplet, 4 triplets. So we've done that orchestration before, except before I think it was. Now it's. So that bar slowly, 1 triplet, 2, 3 triplet, 4 triplets. And I played the bass drum at the beginning of the bar. If you did that, it wouldn't matter, but I don't think, well, I was lucky enough to find a isolated drum track for this song. So I was able to hear that very subtle bass drum he does put on beat 3. Got it in the end. So let's hear that drum fill a couple of times up to speed. Okay, then we come to the outro of the song. 2 minute 25, it starts to get crazy. And what we got here is 4 bars, the first 4 bars of the drum fill, the drum solo if you like. And within those 4 bars, you can sort of see the ideas he's using. The first bar is very different though. He sort of settles into it by bar 2, if you want to think of it that way. The first bar I'm hearing 1 triplet and then 2 triplets. Left hand up to the tom, that little sneaky snare drum in the middle, 2 triplets, then back up to the ride cymbal, 3 triplets, 4, 3 triplet, 4, and he leaves the rest of beat 4 rested before coming back in on beat 1 of the second bar. So it's kind of a unique bar there compared to the other bars from for the rest of the song, as you'll see in a second. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4. It's quite a cool little drum fill. Then from bar 2, we get this repeating idea that occurs all the way to the end of the song where he's playing just constant triplet notes all the way through the bar, but he's making sure he's going back to the ride cymbal for beats 1 and 3. So that's the recurring pattern. And then in between those ride cymbals, the triplet notes he's playing are orchestrated all kinds of different ways, but he settles into a really cool one bar drum fill for at least the first 3 bars here, bars 2, 3 and 4. He plays exactly the same drum fill. So the bar 2, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, simple enough, but then 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Again, using that idea, that high, low, high idea. Bars 3 and 4 are exactly the same. But then after that, as I sort of accidentally did there, or started to do, it's exactly the same, it's just orchestrated all over the place. He uses all the different toms. That was really messy because I'm not Keith Moon. Well, no, I won't say it. It's actually quite hard to come up with movements around the drums, but really importantly, coming back to that ride cymbal for beats 1 and 3, because Keith doesn't miss it once. He's always playing that bass drum and ride cymbal on beats 1 and 3. So don't worry about the orchestration. If you just want to stay with this one drum fill, I wouldn't blame you, because that's sort of that's intensive enough. But you can sort of play around with the toms. This is what Keith is doing. He hasn't written anything down. He's just improvising for this last part of the song. You can also hear him miss some of the toms. He's hitting the rims towards the end as he obviously starts to get tired. So there's a few mistakes in there as well. So you'll be forgiven if you miss drums. But there you go. That's what we got there. So the 4 bars, first 4 bars of the drum solo, messed up already. Okay, let's do that again. That was correct, but I'll do the rest of it. Did I do that right? I think I did, accidentally. So you can see after bait 1, he then flows into this constant flow of 8th notes. Anyway, let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. So then finally, there's a section at 2 minute 58 which he repeats, I think, another time just before the end of the song. And I wanted to include it because it was kind of cool and unique. It's just the one time he sort of breaks out from playing, where he plays all triplets, but just between the 2 drums. That's all it is. He's still playing that constant 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, but just split between the 2 ride cymbals. So before and after it, you might get. And I missed the ride cymbal there on beat 3 for that second bar accidentally, but if I was playing it with my band or in my bedroom, I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't stop the song and go, right, I've ruined it, let's go back to the beginning, because it still works. So that's kind of interesting. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Technically, if you want to get technical, what he's playing here are quarter note triplets. The right cymbal's playing quarter note triplets, the left hand's playing quarter note triplets, but it's still just 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplets. Okay, let's hear that a couple of times. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget you can download the PDF from my website for free. You'll find a link beneath this video. Thank you to my YouTube followers for suggesting this. If you want to make your own song suggestions, then you can go over to my Facebook page, or you can go over to my YouTube channel and press the community tab and make sure you get included for future song lesson suggestions. And then you might also want to visit my website, drumstheword.com, and what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. That's coming up to 450 famous and popular songs now, including at least another 2 Who songs, where I teach you the full song. Unlike this lesson, I teach you every single bar from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum charts. And like I said, I've got almost 450 famous and popular songs up on the website already. As a thank you for signing up, I give you access to hundreds of little videos teaching you many, many famous drum beats, fills, and even drum solos. I give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous drum beats, fills, and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, You also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members, and I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday, so you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, feel free to email me, rob@drumstotheword.com. Until our next drum lesson together, toodle pip and happy drumming to you.